We've had 2 reunion episodes and 2 Mia Stormouts. Do you think that she will stay off the camera this time? Is she gone forever?
No, there's no chance in hell. I would, however, like to see her go 3 for 3. If we get another storm off in the 3rd episode, I won't be mad at Mia anymore.
But that's 3 strikes and you're out.
Is it? Or can you just not deny greatness? 3 for 3 is greatness.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the incorrigible Magooter. What's up, dude?
How we doing out there, everybody? It's 55 and sunny. This is look, this is happiness. This is what happens. You get a little happy. I feel like crap right now, but the windows are open a little bit. Not fully open, but a little bit. Just get some air in here.
To get some of that sweet breeze in. I know, I get it. I was outside. We had a cameo to do today, so I did it outside, and I was like walking around my yard because it was nice. It is.
Pop the shirt off?
Did I pop the shirt off? No, that's extra on Cameo. I'm gonna pop this bad boy off. That's $25 instead of 20. No, I've never done that. I don't think I would do that unless it was. I'm not going to give you the stipulations because I don't. You know what? No, just no. But yeah, no. I was outside bopping around as well. It's gorgeous out. And then here's my problem. Like, this is now how my brain works in life, which I don't. It's probably I should probably go to therapy again, but. All I think about is the fact instead of enjoying the day today, I'm like, it's just going to be cold tomorrow or on Wednesday or Thursday. And then next week's supposed to be like a low of 19. So like, I'd rather not even have the day because I would rather just be warm. Like that's how my brain works.
That's so grumpy. That is such a grumpy approach to life. You need to snap out of it.
I know. Look, okay. Happens. Thanks, dude. Look, you should be a therapist. Oh, just fucking snap out of it. Thanks, bro. Yeah. You sound like fucking Reba. That's probably her style of therapy. Just fucking quit.
Grow up.
Just fucking knock it off, you loser.
Get it together. Nobody cares about your problems.
That's what she says. Get your shit together.
Oh, you want your mommy to say I love you? Yeah, that's Reba.
Oh, you have mommy problems? Oh, you fucking grow up.
No, Reba's more like I fully understand.
WW2, we didn't even believe in love.
No, I think Reba's more like, oh, yeah, you know what? We really need to work on that. You need to get your mother to say, I love you. Here's the things that you can do. And then she walks back and like child Sutton walks in. Mommy, I love you. And she's get the fuck out of here.
Ugh, gross.
Absolutely not. Kids.
Spits on her.
But we're not here to talk about Beverly Hills. I don't know how we just fell into that trap. We're here to talk about episode 2 of the Potomac reunion, which I have some thoughts. Now we dug deep the first couple of years that we were doing this. I don't even know how long we've been doing this at this point. Were we coming up on 3 years?
3 years in May.
Jesus Christ, dude. Time flies when you're having fun. Am I right, buddy?
Damn right. No.
But yeah, so we used to hate 3-part reunions. We used to feel like no show deserved a 3-parter. They just dragged it on and dragged it on. I think potentially this could have been 2. It could have been 2 episodes, but I think what we're going to get is based off of what we still don't know what the hell happened with Eddie on the phone on FaceTime with TJ. So
you think it could have been 2? And
I think they could have squeezed everything into 2 because that first episode, it was fun. It was fine. There's a good amount going on. The beginning of this episode, again, very fun. I was thinking of you because it seemed very easy and then it got crazy at the end and then I felt bad for you.
It got wacky at the end. Yeah.
If you put it together, that first episode was almost nothing. Then Mia gets upset and storms out about something that happened off camera after they were done shooting. The second episode, the first half is just kind of like fun going back and forth. They could have cut all that out and just jammed us into 2 episodes. But I think, and we haven't heard this in a while, hopefully this bomb doesn't fall short because that happens all the time. And we didn't even get our hopes up for it anymore, but it hasn't happened in a long time. So I could feel my hopes getting raised. And then I remembered. So now I'm cautiously optimistic.
So I think it's always safer to be cautiously optimistic, right? Where I disagree slightly, and he didn't say it was a bad episode. He said it was a fun episode. I'm cool with if we have 3 reunion episodes and one of them is a fun episode every time, I'm still cool with that because what we're referring to, and it was a stretch of like, I want to say a year where every single show And it went from a time where we were used to 2-parters, and then they started to do the 3-parters more frequently. Then it felt like every show was getting a 3-parter just because they knew they could get an extra episode out of it without the content there. So we had like a 1-year stretch of 3-parters where it wasn't a fun episode. It wasn't informative. It was just a clunker. And that was either the first one, the second one. And that was the funniest part. You never knew which one it was going to be, but inevitably one of them would just be a shit episode. If we have 3-parters and one is just fun, but I enjoy it, I'm cool with that too. But I agree with you. I think that they probably could have done 2, but I'm glad they're doing 3 because at least the first one was fun. And cautious optimism is the way to go. I will say this.
Always.
The 2 reactions that we got, that's what I'm basing it on, because Eddie was like, shit, TJ, like whatever. Like he got elevated. So he seemed to be having a real reaction. I trust Wendy not to blow things out of proportion. So between the 2 of them reacting that way and Wendy legit going, what the fuck? I was like, okay, I think this is going to hold weight. And also coming from TJ, who
I'm already
started out
assuming he's lying. So
well, he's definitely lying. But just coming from him, leading off with, I'm not going to that fake ass show with those fake ass people. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to hit. I don't know if necessarily it's going to be the atomic bomb that we're hoping for.
I hope. What if it has the same effect that like a Monica Garcia has, where he's such an asshole and he goes after everybody that it brings them together? Because the sense that I got during this, and I want to highlight how fun the episode was, because everybody was vibing. Now, obviously not Mia, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And that was rightfully so. Everybody went after Mia, and that is how it should be. But the rest of the cast vibing, having a good time, that shows us that we have a cohesive group going into next season. I don't really need to make any changes. Like, yeah, sure, if you want to consider downgrading Kiarna to friend of, I'd be okay with that. I don't think that she needs to be a full-time housewife. I think we have enough of that going on, depending on what Karen's going to do. But I'm fine with her presence on the show. She was full-time this season, but I don't think that she should have been. That's just my opinion. I think that she's fine. I think she brings enough to the show here and there and whatever. And at the reunion, she has a couple of drop-ins that are good. Jaqueline, of course, go away. Mia, of course, go away, or, stay and have a redemption arc if that's what they're going to do. I'm at the point now where I just like what's happening. I like what's happening with this group, and I'm very, very hopeful for next season, which is something that we didn't have last year for Potomac. So it's baby steps, but I feel like we took a huge step this season, and I'm very happy.
No, I agree with you, and you are much more critical of Potomac than I am, just because of bias. I always want it to be good, so I always take everything with a grain of salt. As far as Kiarna goes, I get what you're saying, but my counter to you is, let's say that we get our wish, Mia and Jaqueline are out of here, giving more time. No. I don't see it completely happening either, but let's say it does. I think without the bullshit going on and all of those manufactured episodes, you have more time for Kiarna, because I think she's giving enough now. Like the drop-ins, I know they're just quick one-offs, but I think they're important because they're good drop-ins. They land, and she's bringing context. And I think during the season, she's up against Mia and her shit. She's with a partner that doesn't want to engage. So she's fighting an uphill battle on a lot of fronts there. So I think that if she has an easier route next season, that's where we can make a judgment call. I'm not saying that she does or does not deserve to be full-time. I don't think she had enough freedom this year to do her shit where we can really pass judgment should she be full-time or not. That's kind of my theory, and you cannot sit side saddle like that, because that's going to drive me nuts.
I can't figure it out, dude.
Why are you not centered on your fucking camera?
I don't know what I did. I did something to the camera, and now the camera's broken. I can't figure it out. It's not broken. Hold on.
What are you doing? I love that you also like sat there like you were normal, like things weren't weird, and you're just like smiling at the camera like you're not sitting 6 inches to the wrong side.
The problem really is that I realized what I was doing, and I was just staring at myself trying to figure out how to fix the camera, which
I thought you were just like sitting there like everything's fine, everything's cool now.
No, I was doing that, and then I was obviously eating away at me. But then you were in the middle of talking, and I didn't want to fuck with you too much because you were making very good points. But
it's out the window. I forget everything I was saying.
Dude, I just couldn't do it anymore. You're right. And look, for everybody that is watching on YouTube, that you might not realize that everything is reverse. So I'm scooting over to the left thinking that's going to help, but actually it's pushing me further to the right. So it was a complete mind fuck, and I apologize to everybody.
Yeah.
Not you.
I don't need your apologies. I just need you to do better. I need you to do better.
Stop gulping into the microphone, for the love
of God. I don't do that. Jesus Christ. Oh, I can't say that either. Or goddamn, I got in trouble for everything, and we got in trouble for spoiling again. Like,
what did we get in trouble for spoiling? What did we spoil?
Somebody on YouTube said, because the title was "Lover or Hater, Danielle Remains a Traitor," which I thought was clever. Someone's like, "Oh my God, like I have to mute you guys," because luckily people came to our defense. Or like, it's been 5 days since it aired. Like, what do you want them to do? We had some backup there, but I was like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, we hold on to that episode till Monday so that we don't spoil for anybody.
I know.
We could drop it over the weekend and ruin your whole weekend, but we don't do that because we're nice.
We tried, and no matter what we do, no matter what, you know,
heavy is the head, am I right?
Such is the nature of the biz. But that's a good time to get into this episode because we haven't even
gotten there yet, have we?
I know. No, but we start out with the hallway drama. Obviously, Andy is going to go to Mia's room and try to calm her down a little bit, as he always does. He's like, "You're beating yourself up. You know, you're in this shame spiral, blah, blah, blah." And he's doing what's best for the show. I get it. But and this is what made me mad, because I was like, this is going to be the whole tone of her the entire episode now. She's like, "I've been a terrible friend. And if I wasn't in the final weeks of my divorce," I'm like, "You're fucking lying. You don't care that you've been a terrible friend. You care that you got caught," which I'm so happy that was the focal point of this episode, was everybody calling her out for her shit. It made for a great episode, because we've been waiting for this moment where it's just like, there's so much to go after her with. Don't let up, and don't fall for her lies. Like the fact that she's acting like she's upset because she's been a bad friend. The fact that she's acting like she's getting a divorce when we all know she's not. Especially in current times, we know she's not, because she's posting with Gordon. They're trying to work things out, allegedly. So the tone immediately, I'm like, I hope everyone goes after her, because this is bullshit. Luckily, they did, but
they did, and that's exactly what Mia wanted. Mia wanted to have the dramatic storm off. She thought once again that, and look, we talked about Stacey. Stacey has come a long way. In the beginning of the season, I think Stacey would have accepted that apology immediately, probably did an apology of her own for some reason that we would have questioned. But this is the new Stacey. Stacey's really come into her own. And the fact that she was able to just straight up deny Mia's apology because it didn't seem authentic, which it was not authentic, because nothing Mia does is authentic. And that's what everybody's clocking her for. That's what she wanted. She wanted the dramatic storm off. She wanted to go back to her room. She throws on like a fake smile, the fake tears, the fake crying in the room by herself. She wanted Andy to come in and check on her, because she knows that the cameras are going to come in and everybody's going to be like, "Oh, poor Mia." Not one of those women moved. No one went after her. And this is like it's the biggest component of Housewives. When somebody goes off crying, at least one of the women goes after her to at least, try to get some tea or see what the hell's going on or show some face. No one moved. And maybe it's because their dresses are just too goddamn hard to figure out and they can't get out of their chairs, which I understand, because that's got to be difficult.
You do? You understand that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
How do you understand that?
Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out someday. When you grow up, I'll tell you. But nobody wanted to get up to go check on her, which is the best, because she does this and no one needs to go check on her. Andy has to, because you can't really go forward with the reunion until you get Mia back in there, because there is still another big thing that we have to talk about with Mia, which, because of Mia, ruins the whole season, and it took up so much time away from all the other women that had storylines. So we do have to grill Mia over this. So get her back in there. She wants somebody to just come in and make sure she's okay. "Oh, Andy, thank you so much." No, he's not doing it because he likes you. He's doing it because he has to.
Correct. 100% correct. But we get back to the main stage. I did think it was funny when they're recording Greg is like Mike. He's like, "She said be here at 1:30. It's 4:52. I could be around Manhattan." God
damn it, Greg. Don't make me like you.
Greg, shut up, Greg. That's funny. That was a funny line, Greg. But we get to everybody, and we're talking to Gizelle, just a check-in on her life. What's post-empty nest life like? And she's like, I was sad for like 20 hours. And then I was like, wow, this is kind of great, which is great to hear. The twins have 4.0, so they're still killing it. No surprise there. Jamal got married with a Wicked theme.
Yes, I was upset that they didn't show the pictures, but don't worry, I did find the pictures. It was real. Subtle-ish. Yeah, it was definitely a Wicked theme. And I do, I believe Gizelle when she says that he has no idea what Wicked was, but he does now. It was
there
a
green
subtle.
paint?
No, they were not painted
Okay.
green, thankfully.
I didn't know if you pulled an alpha and you went green.
You didn't know how method acting he went into it. So yeah, that's fair. You don't really know. No, he had a Wicked themed tux, and then his new wife had a Wicked themed dress. I didn't see any other pictures. I'm sure there are
she was
more
just
out
like
there.
so stoked about Wicked. She's like, this has to be my wedding now. Like that's probably how it came about.
Yeah, I mean it's like Disney adults. I feel like I'm going to offend some people that listen to us, but yeah, it's like Disney adults. Same shit.
Say that. Yeah, no, it's a strange premise to me as well. And I'm not. No shame if that's what you enjoy. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life. If that's what you enjoy, you shouldn't care what you have to say anyway. But I do think that the Disney adulting thing is. I wouldn't think to do that. Is all my.
If you're gonna do it, and we do find out very quickly after this that the new stepmom does not really have a relationship with Giselle's daughter.
Relationship with the kids.
You know, we can talk about a little bit more in depth. But if you're going to do the Wicked themed wedding, if you're doing it for kids because it's cute and it's fun, fine. But if you're doing it for yourself, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it is your wedding. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. But me, as a innocent third party here, I'm going to sit here and say it's weird. I don't think you should do it. I think it cheapens the wedding. I think the wedding's about you and your partner. I don't think you need to make it about Wicked. I mean, love's always going to win. So
love always does. Love conquers all. So, and again, if you want to, who the fuck are we to say? I don't know. Anyway. Like, who gives a shit what we think?
A lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know why. We're idiots. But anyway, we're checking in with about noms. So they're still talking. I don't know if they're like dating, but they're still talking and things are good. She says strong. So things are strong between the two of them.
Things got a little stronger after they wrapped up filming. So
great. We like Noms. I liked his vibe. He seems like a good dude. Noms and Josh are boys. So I need in my life now a Gizelle double date with Ashley and Josh and Noms. I think that
I hope that's how like the end of that Love Hotel show ends. Noms and Josh show up.
Are Noms and Josh on that show?
No, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge anyway. I know the rest of the cast is in it, and I kind of thought that too, because when we talked to Ashley and we're asking about how Josh is, she's like, things lessened a little bit. We kind of just like things are undefined.
Back a little bit.
We pulled back a little bit, which is fine. I don't really care about that. She's finally divorced now, so do what you got to do. But I think that obviously has something to do with it. You go on a dating show and you're, obviously talking to a lot of different guys. I'm sure there's some smooching going on that show, which we'll find out shortly.
Oh yeah, you think there's some smooching happening?
I think there's some smooching. You're gonna have to break out that rating scale that we use for Bachelor. But so it's just nice to hear that everybody's doing well. The dating life is going well for Gizelle. Giselle has a new lease on life. She's got her kids out. Her kids are at college. She's an empty nester. She's dating this good guy. We hope. Now, every time that we meet these guys, we tend to like them up front, and then something happens and we don't like them anymore. Let's hope that we continue to like Noms. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it's more than anything, it's just nice to see them happy.
Yeah, I agree. And Ashley is happy with Josh. We hear Josh is head over heels about her. So maybe she pulled the reins back a little bit, which is fine. But they're still intimate because Josh did give her a send off. I don't think that we needed the follow up from with Seaman. And then, of course, I'm like, this is how dumb I am. I'm like, ew. Send her with
like a jar.
Like a sample that you would get at the doctor.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
I'm like, why the fuck? But it took me like 10 seconds to be like, oh, like they banged. I'm like, why the fuck would he send her with a sample? I'm like, oh, I'm stupid.
I don't think you're that dumb. I don't think
I'm not a dumb person.
I don't think you're wrong to even
thoughts.
But the fact that thought even crossed your mind does not mean that you're dumb, because that is such a strange way of describing the send-off.
Saying it right. Thank you. Okay, then I'm not crazy.
Oh, you guys had sex before you left? Cool.
Say that. We boy.
Congrats on the sex.
I sent you off with semen and sperm, is what Gizelle said. I'm like, ew.
Gross. Yeah. Too graphic.
Yeah, it's a weird way to.
I wonder if that aired on the censored version that aired on Bravo. They talk about semen, probably.
I would imagine. I don't think that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Asking the important questions. This is what people want to know.
This is what we need.
Yeah, sure. But we do find out that Josh was offended by Wendy, and not so much for the middle school Jack Harlow line, But for the lateral move line, which is fair, if you're getting
That is
compared to
fair.
Michael Darby,
I forgot
like
about that line.
that, yeah, I did too. I was like, oh, he took Jack Harlow. I mean, all right, fine. If he took offense to that, she's like, no, the lateral move is like, oh, I forgot. Like, yeah, that's really mean. That's
that is really
way
offensive.
too mean.
Yeah,
it's incredibly offensive to compare him to Michael Darby.
And to hear that his friends are texting him saying the same thing, like, dude, that's kind of fucked up,
bro.
isn't it?
That
yes,
sucks.
it is.
Yeah, that really, yeah. And for all intents and purposes, Josh seems very harmless. He seems very harmless.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know him that well, but like from the scenes that we got him in, he just seems pretty gentle. So he's probably like, what the? I would like to see him watching it like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, why'd you say that? That would be kind of funny. But
no.
Anyway, let's get to some important stuff because Wendy, she just deflects and says, what about Eddie? Which, you know, the classic move. But let's get to Stacey and Kiarna because we watched Stacey absolutely crush this season. We watched the growth of a housewife even. She started out so innocent, didn't know how this game worked. People gave her shit for being boring, too stiff. And then as she's going through the season, you can see she starts to hit her stride a little bit. By the end of the season, she's a completely different person as far as the show goes because she's throwing shade at people. We would get the shady lines throughout everything, but it was almost like her last tether to being old Stacey was her relationship with Karen. And then once that was gone, she's like, all right, fuck everybody. And then she started throwing shade left and right, started talking some shit, getting involved. And it was glorious. Like she had the best newcomer season I've seen on a housewife show. So hats off to her, but we check in with Kiarna. They're still together. Obviously, Greg and Kiarna are still together. Greg's there right now because he's mad he's not bopping around Manhattan.
Yep.
They're confusing as shit. And I don't think that they've gotten to a different place based on this definition of what they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
She says, we're on a journey. We took some time apart. She's purchasing a condo so that she has like premarital assets, which is great. Good idea there. But they're also looking at rings. So you're looking for your own place to live and you're looking at getting married as you're taking time apart. Like
it doesn't, it just doesn't add
sounds
up.
a whole lot more like what we watched during the season. They're just on two different pages.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah. And look, I think this is just one of those things at a reunion where you get an update and Greg is there in person to support you. So clearly he's trying to do things for you, I think. But I mean,
I say cautiously.
I say cautiously. I don't really know. We're going to have to wait till we get him out there. But I think the important questions are, you know, obviously, how did he feel about you doing this? And I think Kiarna did a good job of explaining what his trepidations were, if you will, going into this season, having her become a full-time housewife instead of a friend of. It's a little more of an inundated process that you're going to be involved in. He's going to be on camera more. We actually said that during the season. Like, yeah, this just looks like a guy who doesn't want to be on camera. He could have been a lot nicer to his girlfriend, but it does look like a guy who doesn't want to be on camera. And I think it is more of the same. I think it's just pretty much it's been on the same trajectory as what we saw during the season. They're not really sure. You know, she's hopeful that they're going to get engaged. Anything could happen. They could have another fight. Maybe they start filming again and it kind of goes awry. Who knows what's going to happen with them? But obviously she's going to say things are going well because he's there right now. If he wasn't there right now and he didn't take the trip up to New York, then we might have a different answer to that. But right now, I get it.
Interesting. Yeah. You think it might, okay, maybe so. But much more important, we find out that TJ and Stacey are no more.
Camera.
I had to sit up because my back was hurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't try to lump my problems into your problems. I'm not shifting on the camera like a moron.
You never do this.
I still don't know what the fuck you were doing. You
want me to get close?
No, I just have to. My back hurts, so I fucking sat up. It's going to take forever if you keep this stuff going on. Shut up. Where was I? See, now I lost my page. There it is. TJ, Stacey, no mas. Thank God. She can do way better than that moron. But it does beg the question from everybody. It's like, all right, because you're like, he's still my best friend, and like he's the greatest guy I've ever met in my life. I'm like, you must not have met a lot of people then. But the best point made is like, okay, so you're still best friends. Mm-hmm. Nothing's changed because you guys weren't doing things before. Correct. You're still not doing things, and you're still best friends. So
I'll posit a theory as we find out shortly after this. Stacey is now officially divorced. So she did go through with everything. She is now officially divorced, which we've been talking about all season. Maybe it's one of those Christian things that we don't quite understand. He's devout. He's waiting for her to actually get through the divorce, and then they can start to get intimate, or at least they can start dabbling in certain things that, a relationship would have to do. He has to get rid of Bugs Bunny, things like that, just kind of add up. But I would imagine, and this is just my theory, she got divorced. She thought that things were going to start to change. They were going to be more intimate. They were going to have a little bit more fun. They were going to be able to explore each other's different sides, the things that were locked away because she was in an actual marriage, if you will. But he didn't do it. He still has yet to take that step. And I think that she was like, what the fuck? And also, as she says, watching back through the season, seeing the comments that he made about her, his behavior, all the weird things that we watched all season that made us wonder, why are you guys together? This dude's a fucking weirdo. Yeah. I think she got to see that unfold, pair that off with this, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, why am I with this guy? I am single now. Let me go explore my life. Let me go have some fun. Let me see what works. And it's not TJ.
It's definitely not TJ. And like you said, I'm really glad that she saw those moments, had the same reaction that we did. She talked about her family's reaction to it. So that's sad that they watched that and had something to say about it. But at the same time, kudos to her for being able to recognize it and be like, wow, he's a dickhead, because he is. And we watched it all season.
Before we get back to the rest of our episode, we have a few words from our friends over at Prolon. And look, we're almost through it. We're getting closer to the spring, but it's still the winter. It's still a little dark out. It's still cold. And maybe you're feeling unhappy with your mental capacity. Maybe you're feeling unhappy with the way that you look or feel, or whatever the case may be. Prolon is here to help you guys out, because those long work weeks and busy weekends month after month can leave you feeling and looking depleted. Prolon works on the cellular level to rejuvenate you from the inside out, supporting enhanced skin appearance and fat loss.
We both did this. We both felt great afterwards. I really enjoyed the 5-day fast because you do get to eat certain things. They give you everything. I had a little packet of minestrone soup to start my week off. So yeah, they keep you satiated throughout the day, but it's a great way, especially after the holidays, especially after football season. Go Birds. We all want to look our best and feel our best going into the spring, going into the summer. So this is a great way to just have a little reset. Gets the gut feeling better, gets the brain moving a little bit faster, and you just feel good.
That's what you want. You just want to feel good. And Steele and I, we both did the 5-day program. We feel so much better. Prolon isn't like any other diet that I've tried, because it's not a diet. It's just straight science. And it was convenient. They sent us everything that we needed, and it's all in one box. And to help you kickstart a health plan that truly works, Prolon is offering Bros and Shows listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day nutrition program. Just visit prolonlife.com/bros. That's PROLONLIFE.com/bros to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/bros.
We move on to a segment I'm sure you enjoyed. It's all about fashion. FASHUN, fashion. And we talk about Wendy's fashion. She was mimicked a few times this season, whether by accident or not. You can't say that she wasn't. And then we start talking 613 blonde, which now we know what that is. That's the hair color, which Karen rocks. And, Mia apparently. I don't know what
the 613 stands. Is that just like a number shade. Color?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the shade.
It correlates to the color of the hair.
Okay, because I got confused later blonde. When they were talking about Detroit 613, and I'm like, is that the area code, and is that where the blonde hair started? And then I was confused again. But
everybody in the 31 isn't 313, or is that just where M is from? Everybody in the 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me.
Yeah, that actually, that's fair.
I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's surprising. No, 613. 613. I know way too much of that freestyle, but 613 is, if you ask for 613 blonde, it is that shade. I don't know if that's what I gathered from it. But we hear some shade about the wig and we heard it during the season that Stacey wore, and that brings up the, what is it? Strut for strays. That whole event. I got there.
I wanted to see if you were going to go somewhere else with that. I wanted to see what you were going to make up.
Slay for strays.
Yeah, I thought that Slay was going to be involved.
Yeah, no, strut for
yeah.
strays. I got there eventually, but it brings up Vivian, who we know owns the dress shop. Stacey's had it with Vivian and all of her bullshit. She's like, fuck that. I'm not into it. Wendy literally says, she said, fuck that bitch. And I had the same reaction to the rest of the cast. Like, Stacey says things like that. That's wild, especially when you find out why.
We got to find out.
I don't care. The fact that she had that reaction is shocking, considering it's because Vivian put her in an already worn dress. A repeat look, and she's like, fuck that bitch. I was like, damn, Stacey has really come into her own, and she's getting Stacey at the beginning of the season would have been like, it's a great dress, I look great in it, so who cares if somebody wore it before Stacey. Now I was like, fuck that, I don't repeat.
Stacey would be like, we both looked beautiful in that dress. I'm just happy that I could do it at the same time that you did. Now there's pictures of both of us floating around the internet, and don't we both look so great? Maybe we should wear it together. We should wear it at the same time. Wouldn't that be funny? That's Stacey, like episode 4. This Stacey's like, fuck that. Are you kidding me?
Literally.
You're gonna make me look like an idiot? I'm out. That's a housewife.
She's out. They don't talk anymore. They're no longer friends because of that. So yeah, she's a housewife. She's made it, and I'm so proud. It's so awesome. But as we're going through all the fashion, it just not a whole lot to say about it. It's just pretty fucking funny. Like Wendy's Michelin Man dress, and
this was all camp and very funny. It was it was just them having a good time. Everybody just giggling, laughing it up, having a great time. Andy
except
getting involved.
Mia just sitting there like a hurt puppy dog the whole time.
Please do not talk to me, guys. Leave me alone. I'm just gonna smile and just nod the whole time.
Yeah,
can I get out of here?
So dumb. It's so dumb. But the funniest line was the cartoon supervillain shoulders, and it cuts over. I'm like, that. Yeah. Actually, that's spot on there. Let's get into it a little bit because things are starting to heat up. And we get to Mia and the fact that she used to wear the blazers and now she's wearing Fashion Nova outfits, which was that was a shade comment. Try to throw a little bit of shade there.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, well, I was working corporate and then I sold that and now I'm working, and Gizelle goes for Fashion Nova.
She said, I sold my job.
Sold my job.
I have never heard that phrase before in my entire
because it's
life.
not a thing.
Only Mia. It's not a thing. No,
you sold your company that you
and that's
didn't
the thing. Like,
own?
if you were to call Mia out on that, she would just be like, "Oh, you got to get your money up, honey." Like, no, like, that's just not a fucking answer. That's not a phrase. Nobody says that because we're not idiots.
No, not at all. But with the Fashion Nova comment, and he's like, "Do they pay?" And she's like, "Yeah, they pay me a lot of money." I'm like, "Do they though? Do they? I don't know about that."
I see Fashion Nova get posted by a lot of meme pages on Instagram, and I've never seen Mia, so I don't know.
Nope. But anyway, Jaqueline comes out. Yay. And I feel bad because Jacqueline's pregnant, so I don't want to take too many shots at her because even though I hate her, she's pregnant.
I'm going to start us off strong, actually. She held on to her pregnant belly the entire time. It was driving me insane.
Oh, do you think that she was trying to gain some sympathy?
No, but it was like it was the pregnancy pose. It was one hand under, like, kind of like cupping the belly, and then the other hand like resting on top, as if she's like, you picture somebody who's got like a cat, like an evil villain that has a cat, and like they're just stroking the cat. That's what she was doing to her pregnant belly the whole time.
It was basically just a move.
Yeah, it's just to remind everybody, hey guys, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, leave me alone. I'm pregnant.
Everybody jealous?
It could be.
Everybody all jealous? Yeah.
But I was curious how she was going to approach this, and she landed somewhere in the middle because I was curious if now that Mia's under fire and she really doesn't have an out, I'm like, is this a moment for Jaqueline to like jump on board and vent some things that I'm sure she thinks about it?
Yeah.
Is she going to go on Mia's defense? And she landed somewhere in the middle, and you could tell at moments she was almost. I am too. She was almost smirking as Mia was getting dragged. And I think there was a part of her that's like, this feels nice. I've been putting up with this shit for a long time, and I'm just going to kind of let it happen.
There's a chance that we may have gotten a Jaqueline that watched this season and didn't like how it looked, because all season and even last season, every time that Mia was under fire, she was the first one to speak up. Not even Mia in her own self-defense. It was Jaqueline coming to her defense. And it looks awful. It looks such like crazy pick-me energy that we've seen from Lake Norman. That was insane when all of the other Mia's friends like walked in and she felt threatened by that. Now she's got enough going on, and maybe her being pregnant is good because she's prioritizing her own life over Mia's for the first time ever. This was, I feel like, this was the turning point. where the rest of the women, I feel like, just did not give a shit about anything. Because as we're going through all of this with Jaqueline, my thought was, we've got PP squared. We've got another baby coming from PP, not PP's baby. But the first comment that gets fired out, and I think it was Gizelle, who's just like, fuck it, who cares? Is it Inks? That's fun.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Immediately. That is it.
It's a valid question because of all the shit you guys talk. We don't fucking know. But anyway, we get into Mia's shit. The Mia, Ink, and Gordon stuff and the paternity test and all of these other crazy things that she brought up this season. And, she's like, well, I broke up with Ink and it's just hard because, and the way that her tone of voice changed throughout this, she's speaking so soft and like, it's just, and I'm like, dude, this is so fake. You're so fake. And she's trying to garner sympathy. And she's like, you're thinking you're making the right choices. And then you look back and you regret it. And I worked so hard just to watch it all crumble down. And then Andy can't help himself. He's like, you said Ink was permanent. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such good shade to just throw into the middle of it. Like, she has to pay for what she's done. She has so many crimes that she needs to speak on from this season, and she has to pay for what she's done. So even Andy getting involved by doing that is funny, and it just shows you where we're going with this. Like, you are going to have to answer for all of this, and we are going to put you on the spot like you've never been on the spot before. We want answers for all of this shit, and that really set the tone, I feel like, for the rest of the conversation. It
does, and if we go back weeks, multiple episodes, there was that episode where Gizelle, she says something to the tune of, in a confessional, where it's like, I'll jump back in, or sorry, I'll clap back when I'm ready. Like, I've logged this, I got it, and she just put it back here. She was waiting for the reunion to go full throttle, and I'm so glad she did, because she has hit after hit after hit. She brings up the fact, she's like, you're not actually sorry about any of this shit. You're pissed off because of the backlash on social media. That's the problem here. And if you really look at this whole thing, Ink definitely wanted to be on TV. We said that. I think everybody watching said that. It was very obvious he was trying to grab for the limelight here. She's like, you guys are still together. And we watched you carry on with his disgustingness, and you're getting trashed on socials. So now you're playing damage control. It just so happens that you live in Atlanta. We know that you fly up here. Mia's like, no, I don't. What are you talking about? No, I don't. And I think Kiana's like, wait, she doesn't live in D.C.? And she's like, she doesn't live in D.C., Virginia, or Maryland. She flies back and forth for interviews. She has all of these receipts. She's like, you sit in the back of the plane so people don't see you. Like, yeah, we all know what you do. You don't actually live here. So it works out perfectly for you, because in the off season, you can still be with Ink, but you can come in here and act like you guys are broken up, like you're doing the right thing, after putting your kids on TV and putting your kids through this entire thing. And then Wendy jumps in to back it up. And she's like, and Wendy's trying to be gentle. Yeah. She's like, I'm your friend. But Mia had this whole entire thing planned out. The plan backfired. So now she drops Ink. She picks fucking Gordon back up. Her, G, and Ink are in this whole thing together. There is no divorce. And that's this entire plan that is now taking place, because your original plan of tricking everybody, including the audience, didn't work out.
I don't think Gordon's involved in this. I think Gordon knows that she was going to do it, but he wasn't going along with it. I just think in the middle of all of that, we saw G sit down with Ray, go through all of this. It just looked like a guy who did not want to be part of any of this. He doesn't want to do any of it. He knows what Mia's up to. He's not letting her just use the rest of their lives, their children's lives, for her advantage. And I think more than anything, this is such good timing, because we've been talking about what Mia does for years. For years now. Like, we've done this, what is this, our third or fourth season of Potomac at this point? Every year we talk about how Mia just uses social media. She tries to do all of these things that are like the perfect thing for the show and just to portray this beautiful, iconic lifestyle. And we said that she could have been called out for it so many fucking times. But I'm happy now because Gizelle finally calls her out for it, in the midst of the biggest scandal that she's tried to push on this show, the biggest thing that she's tried to push, the most deplorable thing. And this is where you get her. This is where you have her, and she has to actually answer for all that shit. Because if we did this a season ago, a reunion ago, 2 reunions ago, it wouldn't have landed. It wouldn't have made her feel like shit for the things that she was doing, because they were innocuous compared to this. At this point, this is something that is going to impact your children's lives, and you don't give a shit. You just don't care, because you're trying to play up this fucking character for a show and be interesting so that people like you. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that people are DMing you saying, thank you for showing this. This is so important.
What? Exploiting your children?
Yeah, no one does that. We talk about it all the time, how people don't do that. There's no way that somebody's reaching out. And we do see that when there's good things going on, like we saw in Salt Lake City with Mary Cosby, like we saw with Shannon and OC. Those good things impact people because they're going through a lot of shit, and it can maybe resonate with people who are going through something similar. I'm sorry, but no one is going through what me is going through. Yes, there are paternity tests. Yes, there is uncertainty with things like that. That's fine. But you know what they're not doing? They're not using that and putting it on a TV show on national television where their son or daughter is going to be able to see it a couple years down the road. Like, she's absolutely insane, and she's just a bad person.
Her whole defense on this entire thing is that she just took missteps. She didn't think it through. Like, that's what she's trying to lean on. But they have too much evidence. They're like, was the first time you told your kids about your divorce on camera? She's like, well, I didn't plan it that way. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Then don't do it. They don't bring it up on camera. You did. You put your kids in a position where that would even come up. The fact that they're filming any scenes with you and your lover and your husband is fucking crazy, especially if there's an actual paternity test question mark, which there never really was. It was just drummed up for drama this season. And now you're getting called out for all of that. And of course, everyone sitting around you is a mother. So everyone sitting around you is going to have an opinion. Everybody at home is going to have an opinion. No, nobody's DMing you going, oh, I hate my kids too. I would love to put them through this. Like, what are we talking about? That would be crazy talk for you to even allude to the fact that you're some kind of martyr for parents that are going through this strange Maury situation, because it's just simply not happening in regular life. So her defense this entire time is asinine. It's so stupid. And then they bring the kids up. They're like, well, what does Jeremiah know? She's like, well, he doesn't have social media. It's like, thank God. Again, Giselle's like, who gives a shit? You don't think he's going to realize what's going on here? And her defense is, well, of course he will. And I'll discuss it with him, just like I discuss every controversial issue on this show. It's like, why do you discuss the other controversial issues with him on this show? Why, for the first time ever in your life, did you say controversial? Because that's not how you say it. And I know that's not how she says it, because she said it on this show before. And now she changes the way she's talking. What world do you discuss the show with your child? And also, how in this moment are you not looking at that and going, oh, I have to talk to my child who is not even a teenager, and I have to talk about who his father is, because I decided to try to make it a storyline on the show and take it a step further, and also bring the man who could potentially be his dad, whom I had an affair with to get pregnant, onto the show. If Ink was his father, explaining it to him in the future without TV would be really difficult. Hey, this is Ink. I cheated on your dad with him. He's your actual father. That conversation would suck off the screen. What the fuck are you going to do now when he's going to school? Oh, I'm sorry. He's private homeschool. What the fuck is that? How is that different than regular homeschool?
I was least surprised by that. I was very, very, very not surprised by that. The fact that she doesn't even send them to school is probably another move of Mia's. I don't want him to go to school so that he's not around all those other kids whose parents might watch the show or read the news and find out what's going on, so that I don't have to hear it. I'm protecting him by doing that. Yeah, sure you are. You could start with yourself by not being a deplorable piece of shit. Maybe you could start there. That could have a good impact on your son's life.
Just don't put this on the show, and then you don't have to have this conversation. And what she does by saying it that way and equating it to similar events that have occurred on this show is minimizing it. This is one of the craziest things that we've seen happen from a housewife. You used your kids to try to drum up a storyline, and not that, you know, your kids were having a hard time at school, or they're getting bullied, or you're having a tough time with your relationship with your kids. We've seen that stuff.
Yeah.
You used a paternity question mark about your children with the guy you cheated on your husband with as a storyline. So don't now say, I'm going to talk to him just like I talk about all the other things that go on in this show, when you are the one that brought this up. You are the cause of this whole thing. You are the reason he's going to need more therapy when he's older. These are all your problems. And your only response to that is, in hindsight, it was a mistake.
Yeah,
You think?
because of the backlash of social media. Like she got
Correct.
absolutely clocked. Everything that she has been doing up until this point, all of her intentions, what she wanted out of the storyline, what she wanted to portray her character as in the middle of this show, just to show up and be like, this is such a great storyline. Everybody's going to love it. No one loved it. We all hated it.
It was
And I'm
terrible.
so happy that not one of the housewives tried to step in and defended her. Like we usually see that when somebody's just getting destroyed.
It's
Now, I mean,
indefensible.
the last time that we saw it was probably Sandoval, where nobody really stepped up to his defense.
No, yeah,
Mia
it was a-
doing this is the first time that I've seen this since Sandoval. Nobody just stepped up and tried to help her out at all. They just kept going in. And even the ones who really weren't that verbal, like Ashley, were sitting there saying that she's a liar every time that she brought it up. Like, you're not divorcing G. And I love that Kiarna steps in and goes, it seems like elder abuse because he's
It's elder
70 years
abuse.
old.
There's no
He
way
doesn't
that
know
he's
what the
part
hell's
of
going
this.
on, and you're forcing him to do it. You're forcing him to have this weird situation, and you try to do it under the guise of, well, I think it's really important that I just show co-parenting because when I had my 16-year-old and I was with G, that co-parenting situation was so good.
Who
Do you
gives
know
a
why
fuck?
it was probably good? It was probably good because you didn't have the thought of putting it on TV for everybody to see and making things awful. That's what
But
you
it's-
would have done if you were on
agreed.
TV. So that's pretty much where we are. But I'm happy that no one else did it. Like even Wendy stepping in, and asking her, is the first time that you discussed the divorce with your kids when you did it on camera? And we know the answer is yes, that she waited. She wanted a raw reaction. She's a producer of her own show, and nobody
her
else
own
has
life.
dubbed her as a fucking producer. Like, you're not. You can't do this. There's other people's lives at stake. There's other people's social lives at stake. And you're ruining all of that for what? Just so that you look cool and look iconic on a TV show on Bravo? Like, it's brutal.
It's so dumb, dude. It's so dumb. And she keeps trying to defend and keeps digging that hole. She's like, I am transparent. The situation is just ever changing. It ebbs and flows. It's like, no, it doesn't. It's not ever changing. You just lie about all of this and you mix up what you're saying.
Mhm.
Then people find they're calling you out for all of these inconsistencies. And then they bring up the IVF parts. Like, didn't you get
Starting to
pregnant?
sound like Mia.
I know, dude. God damn it. They're like, didn't you get pregnant through IVF? And she's like, yeah. Then there would be no question mark that Ink was not the father. She's like, well, that's not true. I could have been pregnant beforehand. And they're like, no, you couldn't.
There's a
because you
4.5
take a
week
pregnancy
window
test.
in there. Like, no, there's not.
Are you nuts?
You get
The
blood
first
tests and
response.
shit. Yeah.
First of all, the blood test is even earlier. The pee stick is 6 days after your missed period.
Uh-huh.
Within no, dude, that's just the timelines.
Now we're getting a peek behind the curtain of how maddening this must have been for somebody like Gordon, who
Oh my
had to
God.
just live through this
I
and
know.
have to sit there and film with Ink, have some co-parenting situation forced on him, even though Ink is not the parent. That is not how it works. And he knew the whole time. That's the worst part. So yeah, the whole situation with Ray that we got to see, where we finally got some clarity on it all, and thank God that happened, because we know for a fact she would have dragged this out until the end of the season and would have had something at the reunion. That is what her plan was. And now that we're calling her out for her plans, all the stuff that you and I talked about throughout the season of what she was going to do and how it was going to go, we know she had a timeline and it was perfectly going to go through all of the season. Filming wraps on this date. That's when we're going to have some sort of cliffhanger that we're going to lean on. And then at the reunion, Ink's going to be there up with me. Or is it Gordon in the back? And we're going to pull them out and it's going to be iconic and I'm going to love it. No, you're ruining your kids' lives. You're ruining everybody else's life by telling them all these lies to make them feel bad for you. And that is the worst part. And that's why all of these women feel so scorned. And I feel like, yeah, for somebody like Gizelle, who just wants to tee off on Mia for all the shit that she did, she is right to do that. But all of the other women that had to listen to her, and they did feel bad because, like you said, they're all mothers. And the fact that Mia's going through all of this and breaking down, and we're hearing that G is manic and he's having all of these episodes, and it's making it really difficult for her to move on with her life, and it's making it really difficult to be a mom to the kids, and all of the things that we had to hear from Mia that she uttered all season. It's all bullshit. It is all bullshit because she's known the truth the whole time, and now she is rightfully so getting absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, and she's going to continue to defend it no matter what. She can't help herself, and it's all about that conversation with Ink and Gordon in the kitchen. You could tell that Gordon was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps trying to hold on to this thing where it's like, they were fine. They were always good until the camera started up. And Giselle's like, that's fucking bullshit, because I talked to him and he said he didn't want to film with ink. He says it on camera. I don't want to film with ink. And what you've done by destroying your credibility even further, which I didn't know was possible. Now we question his manic episodes. Were you using that to your favor to just say when you had a disagreement with him, he's having a manic episode, I can't be around him, he's doing
exactly
that
what
thing again.
She was doing.
That's what I think too, because
it was her excuse to go run off to Atlanta and bring like a kid with her. Like she was probably doing that. Like she's endangering her own children at this point.
It's wild, dude. It's wild. And she just keeps claiming that she's being open. And then she wants to double down on Gordon, be like, he wanted to show up and apologize for how he worded things that day on camera. And everyone's like, no, he fucking didn't. The whole cast calls her out. Like, no, he did not. And this is when Gizelle reads her to Filth, because she's like, you regret it because it did not work. You had all of these people on board for this whole thing. Ashley calls her out for overproducing. And even Jaqueline, this is not a defense. She's like, I think she's honest, but she exaggerates. It's like, all right, that's your way of saying that she's lying, but you don't want to go full throttle. I'll take that from you, whatever. And we get to the comment she made about Giselle's daughters. And now again, she pulls that soft voice out. She's like, well, I apologized. And then Giselle's like, yeah, fuck you. Then you got in my face. And we get some unseen footage of her jumping up at the table, getting in her face. And I love Gizelle. She's like you're going to fucking do something. I'm like, hell yeah. Tell her. Like,
I was thinking that we may have gotten some sort of reference to the off-camera moment, or I think it was actually on camera and they had to get it taken off. But the off-camera comment that Mia had made to Gizelle that was even worse, talking about
she called her daughter sluts.
Yeah, that we had to get taken off. And then I remembered Gizelle wanted that out too, because she doesn't want that out there. But we all know that it's there, and we all know what we're referencing at this point. So
100%.
That makes way more sense. Like, yeah. The fact that Gizelle called her out for it and Mia went after her is absurd.
Mia goes, you called me a terrible mother. And Giselle's like, I said you acted like a terrible mother, because you did. You're putting your kids on the line for this show, their reputation, their fucking mental well-being, all of it for your own advantage. You are a terrible mother. And she gets up, she goes, that's it. This is so hypocritical and so fucking ironic that I legit LOL'd. I actually laughed out loud because she got up and she goes, that's it. That's it. That's the line. The kids, I'm like, you just fucking said it, Mia.
Yep.
That is the line. The kids, you leave the fucking kids out of it. You did this. You brought them into this season. You put them in the spotlight. You put this bizarre paternity lie out to the world. And now you're going to say that it's too far when you bring the kids into it.
Yep.
All the cast is trying to do right now is get through your head how fucked up this was to bring Jeremiah into this entire thing. And you are still not getting it because you're still trying to defend it as though this was your actual life when everybody there knows that it was not. So for you to get up and storm out and say the reason is because talking about the kids is too far, that's too much. You set the tone in episode 1 with all of this bullshit. And we all knew you were fucking lying. And as soon as it comes out, you get backed into a corner because everybody on social media is giving you so much shit for being deplorable, because you are, by bringing your kids into this. You defend it by saying that they don't have social media. That doesn't fucking matter. You defend it by saying they're in private homeschooling. That doesn't fucking matter. It does not change what you did. So you do not get to get up and storm out and say the kids is too much. That's too far, because you are the one that brought the kids into this, and they are responding in kind because they're actually concerned about your kids. You're concerned about your image. And guess what? Your image is fucked by your own doing. So go back to Atlanta with ink, live your life, bring Jaqueline with you. We won't miss you. But this whole woe is me shit, leave my kids out of it, you fucking started it. So they're just finishing it.
It's absurd. It is. But you know what? She got her comeuppance. I'm thankful for it.
Yeah,
because if this stone went unturned, or she somehow snaked her way out of this like she usually does, that would have really sucked. And it would have been a pretty big mark on a pretty good season. It already is a pretty big mark on the season for what we had to endure for all of that season.
Well, it almost ruined it. It almost ruined it. It almost ruined it. That was pretty solid.
And the fact that they called her out and they went this hard on her, it makes it so much better.
Yeah, it really does. It does. And like, obviously the scene at the end is the TJ FaceTime, which we're not going to talk to. I mean, we could sit here and speculate, but who the fuck knows? Yeah. But going back to what you said before we started talking about everything, the biggest silver lining for me, other than the fact that we finally got Mia just read to filth by everybody top to bottom, was 100% the chemistry throughout the rest of the cast throughout the episode. The laughing, the jokes. They're not all tight. Like, they're not all great with each other. You can tell that there's just like Gizelle has a chip on her shoulder about Stacey, and Stacey has one about Gizelle. We're not really sure what that is. I'm excited because, okay, what are we going to get into next season? But at the same time, they can take digs at each other and laugh at it. Kiana's jumping and they're laughing with her. Wendy's in a place where she's laughing with the whole, like, there is a very fluid cast here. And Mia and Jaqueline cast a bad light on it this season, but I don't want that to take away from what we have, because it's a solid group. So let's leave this crew, this core crew together. Let Kiana have another run. Let's see how she does without Mia overshadowing the season. Get Mia out, bro. Like, there is a fucking good show here, and we saw it. We see the chemistry. You can't fake that shit. We've been waiting for this to come back to Potomac for a very long time. It's here. Let's nourish this. Let's bring this to life and let these ladies shine, because when they're on, they're fucking phenomenal. That some of the moments from this season were top tier. So let's let these ladies go and get the one detriment who decided to bring her kids into it out of here. That should be rule number one on Bravo. Leave the kids out of it. She broke the rule. She's also storming out of the reunion. You don't break that rule either. Get rid of her for any of those
If she actually
reasons.
leaves the reunion, then yeah. But I think she's going to come back for the third part.
I don't care. I don't care.
I think it's
we're
really
talk about TJ anyway.
Yeah, it's like an end scene for her. Like, all right, she endured it all. She got through it.
Leave
Everybody
the kids out.
ripped her
The
to
kids,
shreds.
that's too far. The kids is too far. You fuck.
I don't want to see any
Jesus.
fake apologies when she comes back or anything like that.
No,
Either.
just sit down and shut up.
Tell her to sit down. No one else talk to her. Leave her alone until the end. That's fine.
That's totally fine. Yeah, 100%. But let's get to some questions.
I like this one. From Candy Fardo. Will Mia be back next year? If so, will she be married to Ink, G, or some new victim? I mean, guy. I think I don't know. I don't want her back. I think that the rest of the group will flourish without her, and we don't have to deal with her. I think they will, based on how Bravo does these things. I think they'll ask her to come back. As for who she's with, I think we're gonna probably see Gordon. Hopefully, no more Ink, and I think it could just be a year of Mia trying to act like nothing happened the year before. I think that's probably the most likely.
I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't want to speculate too much more than that. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
For Mike Bros, is this Giselle's best reunion performance? She clutched me as pearls quick. It could, honestly, it was, because we've all been waiting for this, for someone to do this, and Gizelle is the best equipped to do this. Yeah. And we watched her kind of sit back throughout the season and be like, okay, just taking notes. She was taking notes all season, and then she got her opportunity, and she did not miss. So I think that we give her this is her best reunion, I believe.
Yeah, and Zoe Pole seconds that by saying, I love Gizelle without Robin, and I love Wendy without Candace. Chef's kiss. So it works out. I mean, they did make some good moves in the offseason. I think it works out really well. Got to get rid of Mia this time around, which they probably won't. But
I'll do one of these, because this is a lot of people asking this. 5
or 6 of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll speculate once. What is your guess at TJ's bomb? What was the text message? I have an idea.
I think it's not going to be terrible. I think maybe Stacey texted TJ and said that they're done based off of his performance on the show, and that's how she like broke up with him and he's scorned now. I think that could be it.
I'll play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Stacey hooked up with somebody else and he found out.
I hope.
I do too. That would be amazing.
See, that's the thing. Like,
he found out.
I think Stacey would be embarrassed that information got out, but I think the rest of the women would be very happy for her.
Be stoked. Like, the whole world would be, by the way. Yeah. Everyone would be happy about that. But I think because that would get a what the fuck from Wendy, because she'd be like, what the, because every time Stacey does something that's quote unquote out of character, like fuck that bitch, stuff like that, people are like, oh my God, Stacey, I didn't know that you had that in you. So this might be one of those moments where it's like, Stacey, you did what with who? Like, oh my God.
All right.
So maybe it's that, or it could just be something. It could be something benign, and we're left with just God damn it, because we've had those in reunions a lot. Or what I really hope it is TJ did something really dumb. And was
I hope so. I don't know if he would. I don't know if
he wouldn't call it out
himself.
like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he wouldn't out himself for something like that.
So yeah, I
think
theory
you're probably
is,
right. I think you're probably right.
All I could think of. Yeah. And I hope it's that, because God, she deserves it.
Maybe let's use some context clues here. He did say, I'm not going to come up with all those fake ass women. So maybe she was talking shit on everybody and he didn't like it or something. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to feel comfortable being in a group with all them. They don't like me as it is. And now you're calling them all fake. And that's what he spilled the beans on. Why would they
like you? You're the fakest motherfucker on the show. Go back to LA with Bugs Bunny, dude. Like,
Bugs Bunny.
Stacey is so far beyond any league that TJ's ever even played in. Like, it's not there. It's a different sport. So like, Stacey, I hope that she went and hooked up with some smoking hot model and TJ found out and he just was in shambles. Then she's like, well, I saw how you talked about me this season. So I went out and I banged the hottest dude I could find. I'd be like, fuck yeah, Stacey.
Good for her.
Awesome. That'd be so awesome. So that's what I hope it is.
I have a feeling that no matter what comes out, we'll probably say good for Stacey. Because
definitely
it resulted in TJ and her breaking up. So, good for Stacey.
So there's no bad that could have happened, because the end result is that idiot could potentially be out of our lives. And I don't need the funniest fucking thing, bro, is you're going to be sitting in like a doctor's office and it's going to have like reruns of like Grey's Anatomy or something. And you're going to fucking see him holding a tray in the background or something like that. And be like, oh my God, I know that guy.
I know that guy. There's TJ.
Oh, there he is. There he is. He's doing Blippy episodes.
Oh God.
But anyway, I'm looking forward to the third part. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm thrilled that they were able to, even with some hindrances, they were able to put a good season together. So
yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how they wrap it up. But you got anything else?
I do not.
Well, that's our show. Bros gotta go.
Yeah.